Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be another BCBA video, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys things that I have learned since I've become a BCBA. I have been a BCBA for a little bit over a year. I got certified last May 2024, and it is now May 2025. So I just wanted to let you guys know some of the things I've learned along the way, some of the things I wish I knew coming straight into the field, and just give you guys a heads up if you're pursuing certification or if you are already having certification and just needing a little bit more guidance, tips, tricks, little knickknacks in here and there. So yes, let's get into the video. So the first thing that I learned as a BCBA is to ask questions. This is a big one, y'all. Ask those questions. This is a very crucial part of the job because coming in, you of course have accrued those 1,500 or 2,000 hours, but you haven't had the hands-on experience like being by yourself, and being by yourself can be a little bit overwhelming at times, especially when you're getting a caseload, you're building that clientele. But to ask those questions ensures that those children that you are working for or those adults that you are working for are getting quality care. You do not want to be guessing with somebody's development, their learning, their lifestyle. So you really want to ask questions to those more experienced BCBAs, and it is never a dumb question. However little you may think it is, it's never a dumb question. The next thing I had to learn was organization. As an RBT, being organized looked very different than being organized as a BCBA. As a BCBA, I have a lot more to take control of as far as plans, authorization end dates, parent training dates that I need, parent availability versus client availability, RBT availability. It's a lot that you have to take into consideration. So y'all, I'll be having them planners. So these are my two planners. This one is my Holy Grail planner. This is the one I'm using at the moment. It is a Votum planner. I don't know, girl. So it just has the days where I have some lines that I can write, you little notes here and there. It also has a to-do list, and it has a monthly overview. So I use the monthly overview typically for my RBT availability, if they're going to be off, if they need an extra day, things of that nature. And then I use my to-do list for like reassessment stuff. And then I use the everyday daily sheets for like important things that I need to jot down to check on later if I don't have time in session. I also just bought a papier productivity planner. Now this is the one I'm going to be using for the rest of this quarter. I'm going to test it out, see how I like it, see if it keeps me more on track for my goals versus a regular planner. Like I said, I just bought it, and y'all, I personalized it. Look at it. So I'm excited to get up into that in June. We're going to be cracking that open. It is $44 though. Get it on sale, y'all. Get it on sale. It's cute. It has all the things that I need as far as goal setting goes, as far as setting SMART goals and daily planning. It's only 3 months and $44. Take with that as you will. And then for digital, I love OneNote. So OneNote is what I use to keep track of as far as like school consultations most of the time. If I have something I'm working on with a teacher, I'll put my notes down so that I can like pick back up the next session, because with school consultations, we don't really have a BIP. So I use my OneNote to like keep track of what I'm going over with my teachers, with my students, all of that in one centralized place. So I also use my OneNote for parent training planning. I write out like my session note for parent training, not session note, but like how I want it to go, like my, I guess, itinerary for my parent training, and my OneNote. All of it's in my OneNote. So yeah, OneNote. Speaking of parent training, the next thing that I learned is to plan out your parent training. Parent training is something that sort of kind of goes on the back burner a lot of times, especially when we're so tunnel vision into making a BIP, getting our RBTs to implement the plan, check on progress, reassessments, and we get in the groove of things. We sort of forget about parent training. And that's something that I have tried to work on this year. And I say as one of my goals is to get more parent training down. I want to get my utilization up to over 50% with my parent training. But of course, we fall short sometimes. And this is what I have learned throughout the year, especially when you don't take parent training into account and plan ahead. Parents need a good consistent schedule. I have tried the winging it and it just doesn't work. So to put a parent on a schedule, hey, we meet at this time each week, it is really helpful. And like I mentioned earlier, it is also good to plan out your parent session, because if you go into a parent session and you let the parent ramble and ramble and you ramble and ramble, and then both of y'all are rambling and rambling, we're not getting any training done. It's just like a vent session. So to make sure things go as planned, you allocate a time for them to let you know how the behaviors are going. You allocate a time for them to let you know how the client is doing overall health. You allocate a time for those skill acquisition goals you're working on together. You allocate a time for data collection, and you allocate a time to set up the next session and address any concerns. So it's all of that in a parent session, and that's what makes the parent sessions go great. So yes, really plan out your parent sessions. All right, the next thing I have learned is to really build rapport with your RBTs. So basically, what I mean by this is, like, as an RBT, my first thought is to build rapport with my client, right? Well, as a BCBA, your first thought is to build rapport with your RBT, your client, and the caregiver. You gotta really work as a team. And at the forefront of that team is your RBT, because they are the direct professional coming in contact with this family every single day, or if not, every other day. So really making sure you have a good rapport with that RBT. It is a professional relationship. Y'all have the open line of communication if they need questions answered, or if they need any kind of like clinical things answered. And then of course that y'all have that trust built between each other, so that the RBT is showing up to sessions when they are supposed to. So yeah, building that rapport with that team really helps, because it helps you do your job better and it helps them do their job better. If the relationship is weak, the team treatment is going to be weak. If there's a rift in the instructional control between you two, it's going to be hard to supervise that RBT. Good supervision makes great supervisees. So also going along with that, understand that your RBTs are at the forefront. They are experiencing this every day. And if you haven't been an RBT, put yourself in their shoes. You know how it was when we were RBTs. Make sure you take the time to show them a little gratitude, show them a little reassurance, and then also be corrective and provide good quality feedback if you can, in person, of course. But if not, good quality feedback over the phone, telehealth, however you deliver your supervision. Make sure it's quality so that that relationship can stay consistent and stay strong. The next thing I have learned is to keep learning. Of course, we have our CEU requirement, but try to do a CEU once or twice a month and your learning will just blossom. Like, I'm so grateful my company provides CEUs. My goal is to get at least one scheduled a month, and I'm trying to do some more learning type ethics CEUs versus just the general CEUs, just because I want to be more keenly focused on what is important for me and my clients, versus just taking random courses and trying to like cram them in at the end of my 2-year certification period. Get them CEUs and get some stuff that relates to your clients. You don't have to just be taking stuff just to be taking stuff, of course. The next 2 things I have learned deal with my clients. First one is to batch clients. I'm an in-home BCBA, and that means I'm traveling a lot, and that's by choice. I could do some telehealth, but me personally, I prefer in-person supervision just so I can make sure everything's running good. And I like to batch my clients. So if I'm going to one city that's like 30 minutes away, I'm going to get as many clients as I can in that day so that I don't have to keep driving back and forth. Of course, that's common sense, right? But it's so much easier to batch those clients and batch those like cities or towns or like whatever together so that you don't overexert yourself. When I first started, I was going from here to here to here to here. And honestly, quite truly, I drive more than 300 miles a week. And that's just insane to think about. But if I batch my clients, it becomes more manageable. And it just makes it seem like more of a steady, normal job than me going to here to here to here to here to here. That just comes with whatever location you're in. I'm in rural Georgia, so of course I'm going to be driving like that. But if you batch your clients, you just maximize your profit. You maximize your car. You maximize your sanity. Trust me. The next thing is to check progress weekly. Check your progress weekly. If you don't check your progress weekly, I question some of your tactics. Let me hold your hand. Because we need to be checking client progress weekly because clients change constantly. Things change constantly. Environments change constantly. So we have to really keep an eye on our progress, on our data, and on our RBTs because sometimes, teaching gets a little slack. The data collection gets a little slack, but we have to make sure we're checking that progress, keeping up on our fidelity checks, keeping up on our checklist to make sure they are teaching correctly and our client is learning correctly. And if our client is not learning correctly, we got to change that goal. That goal may not be for them. Change the goal. It is okay. Change the goal. Modify the goal. That's what we got the time for. Modify the goal. If the client is progressing, okay, great. How can we get this progression to continue? If the client is not progressing, what do we need to change? Do we need to change teaching? Do we need to change data collection? Do we need to change the whole goal? Check that progress. You will thank yourself when it comes time for reassessment. You will thank yourself. And then the last thing that I have learned as a BCBA is to prioritize your health. And by your health, I mean you, the BCBA. You prioritize your health. Because if you do not, you're going to be ran crazy. Y'all, it was this time where I was like, what in the world have I walked into? Because I was letting the job work me and I was not working the job. And by that, I mean I was letting the job take control of my life instead of romanticizing the job, appreciating the job, organizing myself with the job, and then allowing myself to breathe after the job. The job is only for a certain amount of time. However amount of time that I let the job continue, it continues. If I have that boundary set, hey, I'm going to start this job at 9 o'clock. I'm going to start my first client at 8 o'clock, whatever you want to start. And then I'm going to end this day at this time. You have to set that boundary because if not, you're going to be checking emails all night. You're going to be responding to your RBT's text messages because they do come at all types of hours. And you're just going to run yourself crazy and it's never going to feel like you're off work. If you don't set that boundary, you're never going to feel like you're off work, especially if you're an in-home BCBA. Really make sure you set that boundary and make sure you allow yourself to take a break. You can use your vacation hours and not feel guilty. Use your sick time to go to the doctor and check on yourself. Go to the dentist and get that work. Use your time off. Also, make sure you have a hobby to keep you occupied after work because this job makes you have so many tabs open that you need like a transition time. And I find that having a hobby really helps, whether that's reading. I just got back into reading. Coloring. I love coloring. And then recently I have gotten back into gaming, playing Minecraft. Y'all, I don't care what you say. I might be a big kid. I'm in a big kid job, but I love playing a video game. I love a video game from infinity to infinity. Don't let Michael Jackson come on a Wii. I am on there. So really have a hobby or something that you like that isn't just like a chore, like cooking or cleaning up. That isn't a chore. Have something that you like that feeds your inner self and enjoy that thing because you need that transition time. You need that you time to de-stress, decompress after a long day because there are going to be some long days. That's just with the territory. Yeah, guys, those are the top things I have learned my first year as a BCBA, and I cannot wait to come back and give y'all an update. Is this gonna be a yearly thing? I don't know. But I love to come on here and share what I have learned because I know it's gonna help somebody. Even if one person watched the video, I know it's gonna help somebody. And if I can help somebody, that's what we in this profession for. So if you have any questions, of course, let me know down below. And if you did like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more of me. Until next time, bye.